Eric. My name is Eric Rodobois, EPGD Business Law. And the question I get all the time is, what are the most important contracts for my business? This is where my clients are business owners. And the lawyer answer, of course, is, well, it depends. So I start from the top. So the top is ownership. So if you have multiple owners, if it's an LLC, you're going to want an operating agreement. If it's a corporation, you're going to want a shareholders agreement. That's the agreement between the parties. Then you're going to want an agreement with your customers in many circumstances. So for example, my law firm, when a client hires us, we enter into what we call an engagement letter, but it's really our terms and conditions. The next one is if you hire employees, you're going to want an independent contractor, an employment contract. Or if you hire contractors, you're going to want an independent contractor agreement. Then if you have any secrets that you're worried about protecting, you're going to want an NDA. And lastly, if you have investors or people going to be buying into your company, you're going to want investor contracts. So out of these contracts, what I like to do is I like to break down what's most important. So like I said, if there's a single member or one owner of an LLC, then maybe the operating agreement is less important. Now there might be circumstances where they still might need to have an operating agreement. Sometimes banks require it. Sometimes if they're using it for immigration, the USCIS, the immigration people will want to see an operating agreement to actually see proof that this is a real business. So again, if there's multiple owners, it's essential. Then with your clients, it really is going to depend on what kind of business you're in. If you're selling t-shirts at a retail brick and mortar, you're probably not going to make everyone who walks in your store sign a contract. You might just have, for example, if you're selling online retail, you might have your standard terms and conditions. Click here if you agree, like everyone, no one ever reads that, but if you believe it or not, that's a contract. And those are enforceable in court. And so other businesses, for example, consulting, they might have their clients sign a consulting agreement, okay? That's gonna be very important. Now, I mentioned employment contracts. Your employment contracts are gonna have, and they should have, clearly defined terms, such as what the job description, what the expectations, what the compensation, maybe even vacation, accrued sick days, all that kind of stuff. And then it should also have restrictive covenants. Restrictive covenants are gonna vary, and one size does not fit all, but we're talking about non-compete agreement, non-solicitation, non-interference, non-disparagement, non-disclosure, right? All these nons. And so these are really important. And in certain states, like Florida, you can actually make an independent contractor sign a non-compete. Now, more normally, we can make an independent contractor sign a confidentiality or a non-solicitation, like don't go steal my clients. But in Florida, we can actually also make them sign a non-compete, which is really unique. In other jurisdictions like New York or California, if you make an independent contractor sign a non-compete, it's considered prima facie proof that that person is actually an employee. So be careful with that. Then with investors, we have a couple different types of agreements. One of them is called a subscription agreement. So the investor would be subscribing for shares in your corporation or membership interest in your LLC. And then lastly, this NDA, this is where perhaps I'm going to be working with a customer and I'm going to have to share information in order to sign them up. And maybe I won't sign them up. So what I'll want to do is I'll want them, before I disclose any of my secrets, have them sign it. And a lot of times it's when we're doing joint ventures, or maybe if it's going to be a vendor that we have a deep relationship with, and we're going to say, hey, listen, I'll give you an example. My web guy has access to my entire email database, right? That thing is invaluable. It's taken me 7 years to build it and to craft it and to have a deep list of contacts. And so before I allowed him to even see it, I made him sign an NDA. So those are the contracts that a lot of businesses need to be concerned with. And here at EPGD Law, I have a very simple philosophy. I will review any agreement for free. Meaning, if you have an NDA and you want to make sure it's good, let me put my eyes on it. It's only going to take me a few seconds for me to skim through it and tell you whether it's good or not. And then I'll be honest with you. This is fine. Great. Save your money for something else. Or I see problems here. Let me give you a proposal for how we can fix it. So remember, the agreements are very important. Be careful what you sign, because if you are signing contracts drafted by somebody else, you can be held to account. Thanks, guys.